What's going on, everyone? Happy Wednesday and welcome to Weather Wednesday here on my channel. It's been oh so long since we've done a video, and I thought we would start back up by doing Weather Wednesday, which will be a weekly video showcasing what's going on with the weather in the United States and what could be coming up in the next, say, 5 to 10 days for the weather. Alrighty, let's take a look at what's going on with the National Hazards Map, and we can see here things are a lot quieter than they have been lately, but things are oh so cold for so many parts of the United States. Take a look at this. We actually have freeze warnings up for portions of Florida. Yes, this is something you don't see too often here. Low temperatures are expected to get very cold, and there's even cold weather advisories. Yeah. This is winter time, and this is the winter of 2026, which has been one of the colder winters. Taking a look at what's going on with the national look at the satellite here, you can see here the majority of the United States is relatively quiet at this time. We do have a system that is moving into the Pacific Northwest, and with that system, there is some rain and even some mixing snow in the higher elevations. You can see that here on radar. Seattle, yeah, it's looking like a wet day for you. Same with Portland, Oregon. Everywhere else is relatively quiet. We do have some snow showers moving through Iowa at this time. And extreme southern Florida, we do have some showers and maybe even thunder showers there today. Taking a look at this. This is the power outages in the United States. Remember, we had that really large storm. And you can see here that states like Tennessee and even Mississippi are still in the red here, still north of or close to 100,000 power outages. Louisiana still has 72,000 without power, Kentucky 12,000, and Texas still at 20,000. So in the United States right now, there are 379,813 people that still do not have power. All right, let's take a look at those cold temperatures, shall we? And we're going to use the NAM model for this. Take a look. You can see what's going on here. Temperatures today, well, they do warm up in a lot of places, but places like Philadelphia, where I'm at right now, yeah, we're not getting north of the mid-20s, and while you go north and west of the I-95 corridor, many places today here on Wednesday are going to stay in the teens, and look at the upper Midwest. Yes, those are single digits. Tonight, things will remain cold, but what we are watching is back here across the northern plains and the Midwest, another blast of cold air is going to be coming down, and it is going to be moving southward. And take a look at this. Friday morning, there could definitely be some record-setting cold temperatures in portions of the Northeast. Some places may very well beat all-time records for low temperatures on that particular day, January 30th. So that is something we're really going to have to watch. And look at Florida. You're seeing even 30s, 40s, and 50s there for lows. That is really cold for your area. And again, Saturday morning, that is also looking to be very cold. This does not include the wind chills. Wind chills in the Northeast and upper Midwest will be below zero. In fact, some cases maybe 20 to 25 degrees below zero. And even in New York, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., your wind chills could be up to 10 to 15 degrees below zero. This is dangerously cold. You do not want to be outside for very long periods of time. Frostbite is definitely going to be a real issue. But then you might be wondering, okay, enough about the cold. I've been hearing all this chatter that there could be a big storm system. There could be a big storm system that comes up 95. Not so fast if you live in the East. I know there's been so much chatter about this big storm system, but you know what? We have to take a look at all the things when it comes to the models. We can't just say, oh, this one model is showing a big storm system. Well, really, there is no model at this point that is showing a big up-the-coast solution anymore. And you have to take a look at the ensembles of the models. But first, I'll show you one of the models. I'll show you what's going on with the Canadian model. Here we go. Here we come into Friday, going into Saturday. Now, you do see here, things start to, the isobars here, pressure does start to consolidate here in the southeast. And we definitely have an area of low pressure. There's going to be an area of low pressure. There's no doubt about that. The problem is, take a look here. The track. Look what happens with this low. Now, there is definitely going to be a winter storm in the southeast, and I am pretty confident that places like South Carolina, North Carolina, maybe eastern Tennessee, and portions of Georgia and southern Virginia, you're definitely going to see a winter storm. I mean, this storm is definitely going to be deepening rather fast. But take a look up here in portions of the northern plains. There's another storm system going down. We got to go to the upper levels now and take a look at the upper levels. When that storm system's coming down, it's trying to act as a kicker, and really it's just an area of energy. That's all it takes to send one of these storm systems east. But let's go back to the surface, because you can see here, this really is a close call for places like Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York City. I think they could get brushed with just maybe a little bit of snow. Do I think it's going to be the big blockbuster storm that we were seeing on some of the earlier model runs? No. But also take a look at this. The Canadian model is showing multiple areas of low pressure. I don't know if that's actually going to happen. And should that consolidate to one low? Yeah, you could get a little bit further west scenario. And I think if you live up in portions of New England, like Cape Cod, maybe Boston, Rhode Island, I think you really should be paying attention to this. So again, these two areas, the Carolinas and southern New England, pay attention to this storm. You definitely could be impacted by this system. All right, let's take a look at what the European is showing now. And for that, we have to move over to what is being shown over on pivotal weather. And you can see here comes the European. That also shows pretty much what the Canadian shows for places like Virginia, southern Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and eastern Georgia. You can see here, regardless as to whether or not this storm system comes up the coast, there is going to be wind up and down the 95 core, up and down the East Coast, because this is a really powerful system that is missing not too far to the east. But take a look at the European here. Let's back this up for a second. The European is showing a very strong 980 millibar low just east of Cape Hatteras, but then it's also showing not two lows, but three lows. That doesn't make much sense. Matter of fact, I don't ever recall there being a storm system where you have three lows like that. Yeah, it may have happened before. It's just not very likely to happen. But take a look here. The European says, hey, maybe there is going to be some heavy snow across portions of Cape Cod, Rhode Island, and almost back to Boston. So it is something we have to watch, and it does still brush places like Delaware, New Jersey, even New York City with at least some light snow. And I think that is reasonable to expect that at this time. But if you're further west from there, don't expect there to be any really heavy snow, because once again, I said, you do have that kicker that's coming out. There's a lot of moving parts here, and all the moving parts have to line up just so. And with that, the trough also needs to line up. If that trough was to quickly turn negative, well, then we might be dealing with a different story. How about the ensembles? Well, we'll use the GEFS because the European ensembles are not in yet. They should be coming in very soon. But take a look at this over on the GEFS. And you can see here, we are looking at a Saturday morning. And Saturday morning at this time, there you have it. You do have a period of snow and precipitation breaking out with this area of low pressure, which is in a very good agreement here on GEFS, that there will be precipitation and an area of low pressure just to the east of the Carolinas. Let's take a look at that precipitation. You can see here, it is throwing back precip back into the Carolinas. You can see that precipitation actually gets relatively impressive, and it probably would continue into Sunday. But you can also see here, it is suggesting that there will be at least some precipitation in places like Delaware, New Jersey, Long Island, New York City, Boston, Cape Cod. You can see here, there's good agreement for that. And if we go back to the members and the area of low pressure, you can see here, that low's a little bit too far east for it to really be a big snowstorm up and down the East Coast, which, again, if this was a little bit further to the west, yes, it would be big. Can it shift a little bit further west? It can. I'm just not highly confident because we have ensembles of multiple models. The GEFS, the European EPS from previous runs, all not far enough west at this time to be the big storm. So we'll continue to watch it, and of course, if this were to shift back west, well, then maybe I'll do another update video later in the week. But I have to show you this. Carolinas and places like up on the Cape and Boston, you'll want to pay attention to this next graphic. Here is the impact scale, and you can see here. Here's the impact scale for Saturday into Sunday. You can see these are probabilities, the likelihood of, what do we have this set for at this time, of at least minor winter storm impacts. And you can see really high probabilities in the Carolinas, portions of Virginia, and right along the immediate coast. And if I advance this further, you will see those impacts do increase for near Boston and up into portions of the Cape. In fact, take a look at that. You're north of 80% here in the Carolinas still, and you're north of 60% across eastern Massachusetts and portions of Rhode Island. So I definitely do think that you're going to at least see some minor impacts. How about moderate impacts? Well, let's go backwards here. Take a look at this. North Carolina, Raleigh, North Carolina, Charlotte. Yes, there is very good percentage chance that you could see at least some moderate impacts. And, well, when we come to major impacts, well, first off, take a look here. There is also percent chances here that moderate impacts will come up into portions of eastern Massachusetts. Also, there are some minor percents here along I-95. It's not 0% chance that it can't turn into something moderate. But when we take a look at major impacts, and when we see that, take a look at this. Yes, we are also now up to 40 to 50% chance in North Carolina of major impacts. I do think this is going to be a decent storm there with accumulating significant snowfall down in that area. The cold air's in place. The low's going to be there. This low is going to bomb really quickly. I hate using that word bomb, but that is what the models are showing. Even though it's going to miss to the east, this is going to be a strong area of low pressure. And something else that we're going to have to keep an eye on is the potential, even with this low being far to the east, for some coastal flooding during high tide period up and down the east coast along the shore points, because we are going to be dealing with a very strong area of low pressure with this storm. Take a look here. This is the front forecast, and you can see here they are expecting this storm does get relatively strong at the Weather Prediction Center, and they're also showing here that, yeah, some snow could get back to the I-95 corridor. Light snow, maybe a couple of inches, could definitely occur. We're just not talking about that major storm. All right, moving on. Let's go back to the ensembles real quickly, and let's choose the GEFS ensembles, and let's go out further in time, shall we? And we can see in the West Coast and the Pacific Northwest, we definitely do see that there is going to continue to be opportunities for precipitation out there in the Pacific Northwest. I think it is going to be an active period, but something else that we are going to continue to see is very cold temperatures are going to continue. And we're taking a look here at the ensemble mean of the GEFS when it comes to low temperatures. And you can see here, because of this big storm system that is going to be in the Atlantic, it is actually going to drag below freezing temperatures well in the floor, even down Orlando, Florida. Take a look at that. Orlando, it is showing temperatures below freezing in the 20s. That is really cold for you guys. Yes, it's wintertime, but even for you, that is really, really cold weather. And you can see these shots of cold air just continue. Look at this. The ensemble mean is hardly showing temperatures go above freezing in the portions of the Northeast. And I think we are going to enter the first half of February for many parts of the United States. It's going to be below average temperatures. All right, taking a look at what is going on now, we want to move over to the drought monitor, and you can see here, when we take a look at the drought monitor, drought is still a problem in much of the country, especially the Central Plains, the eastern half of the country. I think we're going to see some gradual improvements with that. Why do I think we're going to see a little bit of improvements? Take a look at this snow cover. There's a lot of snow cover in the United States right now, and with that snow cover, we're going to see some melting, and that should help a little bit. Is it going to erase the drought conditions? No, that's not going to be happening anytime soon, but it should at least allow for some improvements, especially in the Northeast, where you can see that's where the highest amount of snow cover is, and there's actually quite a bit. All right, moving on. Taking a look at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, below average temperatures in the east, with the greatest below section being in Florida because of what happens behind that area of low pressure. Well above average temperatures in the West Coast for the next 6 to 10 days. And we can see the precipitation below average in the west and it is also below average in the east. Mind you, when we're talking about 6 days, that is beyond anything after 60. That is beyond that big storm. Slightly above average precipitation in Texas, and again, below average in the west coast. 8 to 14 days. What's going to be very cold in the east? It's kind of like a seesaw. The west coast will be above average temperatures, and I think eventually, at some point, that could push east, but I really do think the first half of February is going to be cold yet again for the eastern half of the United States, where it really has been a cold winter. All right, quick recap. We are looking at the Carolinas, portions of the Southeast. Saturday afternoon into Sunday. Yes, you could be dealing with some snow. Yes, it could be significant snow. Then there could be, yes, some light snow in between along the I-95 corridor. I think best chance for anything heavier would be right along the coast. And then we also do have to watch Sunday as to what happens for the Boston area, Rhode Island, and portions of, we'll say, Maine as well, and the Cape. That's where you could also see some significant snow. Alrighty, folks, if you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below, hit that notification bell, share this video with anyone you know. Hey, let me know what you think of this. Leave your comments down below, and who knows, maybe we will do some shorts on that big system throughout the week and into the weekend. And of course, we will have Weather Wednesday once again next week. Thanks for watching. See you again next time. Bye-bye.